Now in this video, we're going to start working on the chat sending request. So as soon as the user will click the user from the list, we can hit this button and this will send the Ajax request to our system so we can create the chat. So let's begin working on it. You guys all know how to send the Ajax request using a Jquery. It's very simple and easy, so hopefully I do not have to explain much. Body on, click. I'm capturing the click event for the button create. Now the first thing is to get this button saved in the variable. Second thing, button should be empty, because when we will hit this button, this create text will be removed and there would be icon which will be showing the user that processing is going on and something like that. So we're gonna implement that. So we have to make it empty, like text will be gone, and then we're gonna put the HTML. And as we are using the Bootstrap, we have some default icons come with the Bootstrap, and we're gonna take advantage of that. It says GLYP icon and GLYP icon refresh, and we will also gonna add the class for animated GLYP icon refresh animate, and close the span. Become a very big line here. And now we have to capture the data. As you guys know, this is our form. Start from here, close here. We have create data, which is the users, and we have CSRF field, which we can see here. Input type hidden, name is token, so we can capture this in our custom.js. Right here we can say variable TA as a token, and we can say create form, which is the ID, and find input name this dot well, so we get the value of the token. So we can parse it to our Laravel, because Laravel cannot work without CSRF token. It will gonna give us a validation issue. The second thing is our actual data, which is users. So we can do it in the same way, target the form ID and then find, or we can directly access the field which having an idea of create data and well. And when we will finish capturing the data, we can now send the Ajax request. Method would be post as usual. URL would be chat. Don't worry about the URL, we're gonna create the URL for chat in a moment. Data would be a JSON object, users, our variable users, and then token as our tk variable. Now once we will done, there would be a function that trigger on success, function response in short. So we can capture the response here. We can deal with that later. Save it for now. Head over to our web.php where we're gonna have to create the route. This route would be a post route, and as you know, it would be chat, but not the home controller. We're gonna create a chat controller, a very separate controller here, and the function would be store. So let me head over to my command line and php artisan make controller, and name would be chat controller. Controller created successfully. So if I come over here, chat controller is here, but you can see it is empty right now, correct? So if I again try to run and add the help, you can see it is showing the R flag, which is resources, which can generate a resource controller class. What it does, let me delete this file so I can show you that. If I give R and hit, controller created successfully. Now if I go back again, click here, you see the file is no longer empty. It gives us all the functions that come for create, delete, update, read. So index, create, update, store, show, edit, update, destroy, everything. So we can utilize these functions. Isn't it cool? Let me clear, go back here, and we will gonna use the store function. In here, the first thing we're gonna do is to validate. So as you guys know, I am using Laravel 5.4 because I started the project and I started with Laravel 5.4, even though the new versions are available and I would be more than happy to use them, but unfortunately I started in Laravel 5.4, which is not very much different from the new versions, so it's not a big deal. You can still use the new versions and create the same project in new versions, just a bit of a changing, because for instance this validation in Laravel 5.4 it done like this way, the way that I am doing: validate, request, and the second parameter would be the list of condition that I want to parse. In our condition, we will have to check for the users. Request user, if you know, we are parsing data users, remember? So we have to validate, it should be required. Now the only difference that we have in 5.4 and the other new versions is that in validation, I'm talking about specifically, there are other differences as well. What Laravel 5.5 and new versions have done is to remove this from here and make it like one argument, and instead of this they have done this. So that's the difference, which is not a big deal, right? So let me revert it. After Laravel passes validation, and I'm gonna teach you a very good thing because some of you guys don't know how to work through the Laravel validation with the Ajax, so it would be a learning point for you as well. So now we will have to check the current chat of the user. So what I can do is to create a variable check chats and auth user, the logged in user. And as we will gonna have a relation, right now we haven't created a relation between chat and the user. So as soon as we will have a relation, we can do this. And without a further ado, let's head to the models and create this relation. I think we haven't yet created the chat model. So as you can see, user, we have it, but model we do not. So let me make a model. PHP artisan make model chat. Model created successfully. And here we have chat. Rename it. I have to make it capital. Okay. Now we have to write a function here. Public function, and it would be users, because it is many-to-many relation. One chat can have multiple users, as we are going to create a chat for single and multiple user as well. So there's only one line that we have to write. Return this belongs to many. And here we're gonna say user model class. This is the syntax we use to build the relation. And as you guys know, we haven't included it, so we're gonna say use app user. Sorry, use, not user. And that's it. And we're gonna have to do the same thing for the user. Chat is done. For user, public, and the name would be chats and belongs to chat. And here we have already included the chat. So we're gonna save it, come back to our chat controller, and this function will gonna give us all the chats related to that user, which is sign in. Now what we will gonna do, we will gonna loop through the check chat, and we're gonna say for each check chats as CT, just to make the variable name short. And also we're gonna create one variable already exists. This we're gonna use to check if this combination of the user. Okay, let me explain what I'm going to do. For instance, if this user for us already have a chat created with Ali and Mark, we're not gonna let this for us create chat with Mark and Ali again. We will gonna force him to use the one that he already created. Getting my point or not? For instance, if a person already created a chat with the Ali, we will gonna force him to use the chat that he already have created. So we're gonna let him create the new one. So that's what we are going to implement here. So we are going to loop through this already existed chat, and we will gonna make this variable false by default when the loop starts, and we will have a chat, each chat, and as you know that each chat have one or more than one user. So now we will have to loop through the users of each chat. So again for each, and this time CT and then users, because each chat have one or more than one user, and this need to be checked that if the combination already exists, do not allow the user to create a new chat. If auth user ID not equals to UID, because this chat users will have your ID as well, because we are getting all the chats that exist for this user. So we do not have to trigger or do anything for the ID that is your ID, right? So if it is not your ID, then we have to check, because if it is your ID, it is you. If it is not your ID, then it is the ID of a person who you are connected. So let me just create one variable here, and we're gonna make it empty, and here we're gonna make this an array, and we will gonna make it a string, and add the user ID of the chat if it is not your ID into this UN array. So we are just storing all the users ID of this specific chat in this array to check it later. So within this main for, we have nested for, but after this nested for, we will gonna check if our request users, the one that we are getting, is same as UN. If it is same, like what we already have is equal to what we are getting, then make this already exist variable true, and then break the loop. Otherwise, make it false. And here our loop is and, the main loop. Now, after we'll check through the entire chats that this user have, we will gonna check for this variable. If this variable is not false, which means, if this variable is not true, which means there is no chat combination available for this user, so we can go ahead and create a new chat arrow, save, and then we can say chat users, because we have to attach. Laravel give us a very handy function to do that. Auth user ID, attach our ID, because we will also gonna be in the chat users. And then, because we do not know if the user has selected one or more than one, and the value is coming in multiple way, so we can just simply loop through this request users, and we can say ID for short. We can copy it here, and simple as that. We are attaching the users. Now after the for each, we can see if this chat is empty or not. So if not empty, which means that the chat has been created. Now we have to send back a JSON object to our Ajax, so we can tell the Ajax what really went. So status, just creating a variable is 1, which means it's successfully done. txt is gonna be the message, successfully created a new chat. Resp obj object, the object is the chat. Resp obj users, users, chat users, all the users. Else, if it is empty, which means that the things didn't work, so we can just directly copy this, and I forgot the semicolon here, and this time the status would be 0, which means didn't successfully create it, and we're gonna say something went wrong. And that's the thing, we have one more condition. If it is already exists, then we also have to create one condition, paste it here, and we will gonna say chat exist. Now save it, and now we have to return JSON object. So we're gonna say JSON encode and RESP. We're gonna save this function, our chat controller, get back here in our done function. Now we know what we have to do. So if resp dot status is equals to 1, then it means it's successfully done. and we can show the user a message or something. Remember, if I go over here, we have this class in our pop-up, create chat status. This is what I created it for the message. So we will gonna add class alert. It's a Bootstrap class. Success text would be resp.txt, and now bt.empty, the same thing, because now we have to remove this refresh icon. So we're gonna say text create, and we have to make this button again disabled. And after some time, after the user will see the message, it will gonna take like few seconds. Set timer, we will gonna hide the pop-up. The time we will gonna set for this is like 2000. And what we will gonna do, our model ID is my model, and we have a function model hide. This will hide our pop-up, and we will gonna write else condition, copy this entire if the status is 0, we have to do a couple of things. We have to remove the success class if it is already added, add a class danger, and I forgot to add here remove class danger if it is successful. This would be same, we do not need that. But what we need, if it is come back as an error, then we have to deselect all these. Let's say a function here, deselect all. We're gonna create this function now. Select picker is the class. This is the by default function to deselect all of them. But in order to make this work, we have to create the drop down using this function, the select picker. So we will again going to do that. Select picker dot picker, and we have to provide some of the attributes here. You can find all this information in their website, so don't have to worry about it. Size before, if I save it, save this as well, come back here and let's see what's our progress. We have to keep an eye on our Ajax request, so let me select Ali for instance. Something is really wrong. Okay, so we missed this double quote here. To go again, select Ali and then hit create. Okay, it is doing the same thing. Ajax, okay, another mistake. forgot to add the dot. This is what happened when you try to code fast. So we sent this request. The response came out 0, nothing. Okay, so we have, okay, so there is another issue, and also I just see that it have H missing. So let me save it, come back here, refresh. And if I select, okay, so we have like error, path is not found in chat controller. Okay, that is fine, probably because we haven't included it in our chat controller. We haven't even included the user, and we haven't included the auth. So gonna have to add the chat as well. Now what the error? Okay, so it is saying that in here that's it. More errors. Okay, so we have another issue. I'm keep making mistakes because I am very sleepy right now. It's night here and I am like not able to concentrate. Okay, so if I hit again, hopefully there will be no more errors. Okay, yep. Now as you can see here, we have no errors and everything got set. Now if I refresh again over here, first I have to check the chat as well. And yep, but let me okay. Chat controller line number 53, we have another error. Okay, I think I'm gonna have to do this. Save it. Let's try again. Yep. Chat already exists, but why it is not working over here? Okay, we have forgot one thing, which is to parse JSON that we are getting from the Laravel. And after that, it will work. Okay, chat already created, which means it is already here. So if I empty the chat and now in chat there is no chat, if I go back here, select Ali and create it, successfully created the chat, and it will hide the pop-up. And if I refresh here, sure, we got the chat. Okay, great. So another one, let me create the, and you know what, deselect all, it should be happen for both successfully or unsuccessful, so it would be like here. And also when we refresh the page, so on the by default it will do deselect all. That's a good practice. Now I am going to create the chat for Ali and Mark together, and if I see here, yep, sure enough we got out. And in next video we're gonna work on here to put the chat here. So take care for now, bye bye.